The underground networks of the intergalactic black market were always full of tempting contracts. There were space attack hunts, extermination missions, and even coups against entire empires. But that night, an advertisement flashed on every screen, every neural visor, every hacked terminal in the galactic underworld. Open contract. Target human. Reward: 500 million credits. Direct contact. No intermediaries. It was an absurd figure. With that kind of money, a hunter could buy his own moon, a squadron of ships, or even a title of nobility in some decadent empire. It was the kind of offer that never went unanswered. In the first few seconds, thousands viewed it. In the first few minutes, the big assassins' guilds got wind of it. In the first few days, silence took over. No one accepted. The mercenary forums, which had always been active, fell silent. No debate, no attempt at negotiation. The hunters of the universe, cyborg assassins, terraformed mercenaries, bloodthirsty replicants, all ignored the offer. No one dared ask who the target was. No one wanted to be the first to accept. It was then that Derek 7, a transhuman mercenary, half machine, half legend, decided to break the silence. He laughed. "That's a joke, right?" Nobody laughed back. He activated the oil button. A red alert flashed on his intensified retina. Action denied. Risk unknown. Unknown risk. What do you mean? The system always calculated everything. Success rate, threat level, arsenal required. But for this contract, there was no project. Derek 7 manually forced its way into the mission. He hacked his own interface, ignoring the warnings. When he finally succeeded, his entire ship shut down. The screens turned to static. The thrusters died. Only a single message flashed on the panel. "You don't want to do this. Trust us." Derek 7 felt a deep chill run down his titanium spine. For the first time in decades, he felt something he thought he had forgotten: fear. They say there was a time when a contract against a human was accepted. Just once. The Black Hand, the most feared assassins guild in the galactic underworld, never turned down a job. You paid, you died. That was their motto. Living gas emperors, cybernetic generals, four-dimensional beings. It didn't matter. Everything could be killed. Until they accepted a contract against a human. The target was a man called Elias Crow. No neural implants. No biological armor. No genetic alterations. Just flesh, bone, and frailty. The job seemed too simple. 5 Black Hand assassins were sent out. They didn't come back. The guild miscalculated. 10, 20, 50 mercenaries were sent out. They all disappeared. No transmission. No trace. Just silence. The Black Hand never failed. Never. It was then that Rothvale, its immortal leader, decided to take matters into his own hands. Rothvale was an Eldrani, a race whose perception of time transcended the present. He could see attacks before they were made. He knew the stage of each battle before it even began. For millennia, he never missed a blow. He descended on a desert planet, following the coordinates. Elias Crow was there, waiting. Sitting on a rock, hands on his knees, staring at the horizon as if he knew that day would come. "Have you come to finish what you started?" His voice was quiet. Rothvale declared no hesitation. "You're only human." Elias Crow smiled. "And yet, I'm here." Then Rothvale saw. The future, once always clear, faded. The timeline no longer unfolded before him. There was only darkness. And then fear. Rothvale, the immortal, the murderous demigod, escaped. Without ever telling what he had seen. From that day on, the Black Hand never again accepted a contract against a human. The Delpan Empire was an unbeatable war machine. For centuries, its fleets had consumed hundreds of worlds, wiped out entire civilizations and subjugated empires under its rule. When its battle cruisers crossed Earth's orbit, no one questioned the outcome. Humanity would fall like all the other species that dared to resist. The invasion began at dawn. 200,000 Delpan soldiers descended from the skies like a deluge of metal and fire. Their armor reflected the sun, and their fusion weapons vaporized concrete and steel as if they were paper. London, New York, Beijing, Moscow. All fell in a matter of hours. The humans fought back, as expected, as they always do. But without advanced technology, interested ships or energy shields, resistance seemed insignificant. In the third week something changed. Delpan's generals obtained strange notary patterns. Entire patrols disappeared without a trace. Military bases dawned littered with Delpan bodies, killed in inexplicable ways. The invaders captured terrified soldiers. Trembling voices spoke of shadows moving among the ruins, of attackers appearing out of nowhere and disappearing without a sound. The Empire called them the Phantom Resistance. They never saw the attackers coming. They could never predict where they would be hit. Instead of fleeing, the humans attacked. They infiltrated enemy bases. They learned how to operate their weapons. They acquired knowledge about their technology at an impossible rate. The war, which seemed to have been won in the first month, had just begun. The generals of the Delpan Empire declared victory too soon. They believed that the Earth was conquered. Their armies marched on the devastated cities, their banners fluttering in the ruins. The surviving humans were taken to labor camps, closely guarded. But it was all a lie. While the Delpan relaxed, the real resistance worked in the shadows. Scientists, engineers, strategists and hackers hid in the rubble, gathering knowledge. Silently, they learned the enemy's systems. Every proven weapon, every scientific vessel, every broken line of code. And then the attacks began. For the first month they were small. Power generators exploding without explanation. Supply ships falling from the sky. Communication systems suddenly failing. By the third month, chaos had overtaken the occupying forces. Weapons stores were destroyed without anyone having seen the attackers. Troops disappeared in the middle of the night. And then came the most devastating blow. Virus, created by resistant scientists and hackers. The code infiltrated the Empire's communications network. Within minutes, Delpan ships began to shut down. Defense towers fired on non-existent targets. Soldiers received contradictory orders. Imperial factories produced faulty ammunition. The Delpan Empire was blind. It was at that moment that the humans came out of the shadows. The resistance attacked with deadly precision, cutting off the invaders' chain of command. Their once implacable troops were disorganized, vulnerable, terrified. But that was only the beginning. While the underground war was weakening the Empire, something bigger was happening in the shadows. In hidden bases on the Moon and Mars, human engineers worked tirelessly. With every piece of stolen technology, they managed to build their own space fleet. The Delpan believed that humans would never master star travel. But when Imperial sensors detected hundreds of ships emerging from the hidden shipyards, the error became clear. Humans hadn't just survived. They evolved. The Delpan Empire finally discovers its mistake. The humans weren't just survivors. They were predators. When the Imperial fleet detected hundreds of ships emerging from hidden shipyards on the Moon and Mars, panic was met by the Delpan High Command. How had a primitive species, with no ships of its own, no hyperdrive, no tradition of space warfare, managed to do this? The answer came in the first wave of attacks. The human resistance didn't confront the Delpan. They would never do that. Instead, they hacked their systems. The jamming networks disabled the enemy shields. The Delpan drones were reprogrammed to attack their own allies. Viral codes disabled entire cruisers before they could even react. When the Delpan wanted to restructure, human ships emerged from the shadows. Small, agile, adaptable, designed specifically to turn the enemy's technology against it. Every Delpan shot was redirected. Every ship disabled in seconds. The sky above Earth was ablaze with the wreckage of the Imperial fleet. But the humans didn't stop there. They didn't just want to reclaim their planet. They wanted revenge. The resistance forces didn't limit themselves to defense. They attacked. They took over Delpan cruisers. They invaded space stations. They destroyed the Empire's command centers one by one. The Delpan, once invincible, were disorganized, desperate and terrified. At the final moment, when the last Delpan commanders tried to flee, a single message appeared on the communication frequencies. Now you understand. We were never arrested. The Delpan Empire, which had once consumed worlds, had been hunted down. Humans were no longer just a species on the rise. They were the new predators of the galaxies. Since that day, no contract against a human has ever been accepted again. The mercenaries have learned. The guilds have understood. The interstellar criminal underworld itself, which had previously prided itself on fearing nothing, decided to forget about Earth. They were no longer seen as prey. They were the warning. The story of Elias Crow became a whispered legend among the assassins. The silent massacre of the Black Hand still haunts those who dare to ask too many questions. The terror of the Delpan, their burning fleet and their desperate escape, stands as a reminder that not even a galactic empire can subjugate humanity. 'Cause humans don't just survive. They evolve. They learn, they adapt, they wait for the right moment to strike. And when they do, there's no turning back. So if one day someone offers you a contract to eliminate a human, don't take it. Whether it's a mercenary, an invading army, or an entire empire. Don't do it. Because the last thing you'll see is darkness. And then fear. Humans are not just survivors. They are warriors. So what did you think of the story? Leave your opinion in the comments and share your theory. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new legends from the universe. The unknown still has a lot to teach us.